24 hours I haven't slept, 23 reasons.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of Erin's Book Club. Sorry again for the looks, but I've been working all day and it's been hot and, well, you know how it is. But anyway, in the time that I had in between what I had to do during the day, I finished a book and I want to do another book review. This book was something else. This one was called The Salt Line by Holly Goddard Jones. I hope I said that right. But first let me comment that this is a uncorrected proof, so I guess you call this an ARC copy of The Salt Line, and I absolutely love the cover art. I hope they don't change that. That's one of my favorite cover arts that I've seen in a long time. This is a book that intrigued me because the main enemy in this book is something that I actually have to live with every day, and it's actually a fear of mine every day. So let me read the back of this for you. Okay. In an unspecified future, the United States borders have been receded behind a salt line, a ring of scorched earth that protects its citizens from deadly disease-carrying ticks. Those within a zone live safe, if limited lives, in a society controlled by a common fear. Few have any reason to venture out of zone, except for the thrill-seekers who pay a fortune for a tour of what's left of nature. Those among the latest expedition include a pop star and his girlfriend, Eddie, the tech giant Wes, and Marta, seemingly simple housewife. Once at a zone, the group find themselves at the mercy of deadly ticks, and at the center of a murderous plot. They become captives in Ruby City, a community made up of outer zone survivors. Determined to protect their hardscrabble existence, an alliance and friendships shift amongst hostages. Eddie, Wes, and Marta must decide how far they are willing to go to get to the right side of the salt line. I know I, garbled that up a little bit, but whatever. This was another one of those books where I actually had to keep notes. It's kind of like 3 books in one, and I'm loving the fact that they took these itty-bitty little books and made them into one book. I think that's just perfect. I hate the itty-bitty little books. I mean, I like getting stuff done, but I like the big books. It seems like less of a waste. So the first thought that I came when I was reading this book is they should have kept the ticks real. The ticks that they have in this book, the males are kind of like the ticks that we have in real life, but the females will inject their eggs into you, and then the eggs kind of burst out fully hatched from your skin, which is absolutely mortifying and is absolutely horrible, but I think that would have belonged in a different book. I think it would have actually been more scary to have our own ticks that transmits our own diseases. And yes, they take the liberties of having the disease take effect earlier than what you would see them in, say, Lyme disease in our ticks. But if they kept the ticks less of a sci-fi kind of tick and made them more of our real ticks, I think that would have been a little more scary. That being said, the description of the sci-fi ticks and how when they burst through was online and written really well and had me captivated. I just think that our real life ticks would have been a little more scary. The author's review or view on how the human race will go evil when the chips are down is 100% accurate in my opinion. In this is almost like a post-biological warfare kind of world, and her way of view of life of what the humans will do when we get through that crisis, when we're coming out of that crisis, and what to deal with that crisis is wall us off and exclude each other and kill each other and be horrible to each other. I think that's downright accurate as to what would happen if something similar like that had happened in real life. And I think that's why, going back to the ticks, if the ticks were more real, it would make this a little more real. But I think her view on how people in society would deal with it, absolutely A-on. A good display of the way sheeple are, kind of. When people are scared, they turn into sheeple. They want a leader, and they want to follow that leader so they don't have to worry about being scared anymore, to the detriment of themselves. And they can even know that it's their own detriment that's causing this, but they don't care. They want to follow a leader. That I think is also very accurate. It's a good study of the human psyche. I also want to say I actually felt sorry for the villain in this book. The villain was complicated. I was able to sympathize with her. I was able to understand where she was coming from. I still didn't like her. I still thought all of her choices were wrong. But the way the author was able to make you actually sympathize and feel what she's feeling, even if it was a little bit off the wall, genius. That's a sign of an awesome author. If you can take a villain and feel something for them and still hate them, it's great. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Messes with your head. It's great. I love it. And then there was a quote here that I think I really enjoyed. He was a good and flawed man. I think that is a great quote, because everybody wants your love interest to be perfect or to be absolutely so flawed that there's no saving them. You know what I mean? But this man, the love interest that I'm talking about, was very flawed, but he was very real. The whole book was very real, and I was so refreshed by that. And I also liked the fact that the main villain had a different sexual orientation than most folks. And it was one that you could go with. You could still feel the love of the relationship, and the fact that it was different than what the status quo is didn't change the love of the relationship. Another great sign of an author. Sorry about that. My camera doesn't seem to like me anymore. But anyway, the next quote that I was on, I'll just splice the two together. The next quote I was on was what happened to the survivors at the end when they got to the wall and they were this close to winning and getting what they wanted, and in the end it didn't happen. It didn't happen cruelly, and to find out that the villain that sent them there kind of had a theory that would happen the way that it happened. Well done, author. Well done. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil it, but I thought that was great. It was a great way of doing it. I also underestimated the Marta character, and I think that takes some doing to write a book where there's a bunch of different characters and you have to meet all these characters, but you find one that you really enjoy and you read through most of the book with this character, and then you find out she's a lot stronger than you think, and she's actually a lot more powerful than you think, and she isn't just this dimwit that she's first perceived to be, isn't a humble housewife. That was something else. Then the growth in the Marta character was amazing. I really, really admired the Marta character. And her honesty, her upfront, blunt honesty is what I liked about the Marta character. She didn't hold anything back. In the end, she didn't learn to try to be nice. She was just the person she was. The fertility experiment in the book, and the person that the fertility experiment was conducted on, really turned the group into like a cultish group, and it was scary. And it was scary because you can see it happening in real life. And I really think that the person that was experimented on actually was the victim through all of this. She didn't have a chance. She just didn't have a chance. And the epilogue in the end, talking about how maybe her life wasn't completely ruined at the end of it, but then maybe it was. And the ending was actually, I thought, very, very sad, even though I think it was trying very hard to be a good ending. Very, very sad. All in all, the entire book kept me riveted. I think I've read for 2 or 3 hours without even knowing what channel I was watching on the satellite TV. The cover art is spectacular. I really hope they don't change that, and I'm actually eager to see other parts of this author, like Holly Goddard Jones. I'd like to know some of your other books. Plus your acknowledgments at the end. I think that was really well done. I think it was really personal. I read this book from cover to cover, and I think I will read it again, and I will recommend it to all of my friends. I absolutely adored this book. It was well done, and just next time, make the ticks real. Make the ticks like our Canadian ticks here, because that would have been just well, maybe I wouldn't have been able to finish it. At least with the ticks being souped up, you could say, well, they're not real ticks, so it's fine, I'll continue reading. So maybe that's why you did it. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for listening to me. I'm almost done my horse sitting and dog sitting and house sitting. I can't wait to get home. I miss my cats so much. But until then, The Salt Line, Holly's book. You need to read this book. You really do. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and I will let you know when I have another book read.